Greetings Marines, FiOth here, and in this vid I'm gonna be reading to you the patch notes for tomorrow's update. This includes every rework, everything that's changed or has been optimized for the upcoming patch. So any info you need is in here, and whilst you're listening to me, you can watch this insane challenge that we did coming out of the damn walls on Regicide playing on Intense, and you're gonna say, well, Intense is not that hard. Trust me, guys, having this card running on the background with 3 pathetic demos was a fucking nightmare, because you know what? The demo sucks. We'll see if they did anything with the demo in this patch notes, but spoiler, don't get your hopes up. So, I'll get the self-explanatory stuff out of the way so this doesn't last 1,000 years. They're introducing point defense, and the patch will drop tomorrow at the 14th of December by 10 a.m. PST. Okay, if you're in Europe, it's something between 5 and 8 in the evening, according to where you're located exactly. For the Americas, 10 a.m. PST, you know what time this is. The game should also go live on Game Pass shortly after our patch by 12 p.m. PST. So, in the span of a day, we'll get both the patch and the game on Game Pass. It says we're introducing point defense, we know that. Free content update includes the new game mode, okay. The cosmetics that come with the game mode that can be unlocked via the game mode. Lifetime stats, as we all know. The new weapons, a host of cosmetics, emotes, and so on and so forth. And it also lists the Nostromo salvage pack for $9.99 or euros if you're in Europe. That means you can purchase it if you don't have the season pass individually. Now, some interesting thing is PC modded game notice to reduce the risk of players with modified versions of the game negatively affecting the game experience of other players. Modified versions of the game will have multiplayer features disabled. Multiplayer features may be restored by following these steps. I will have the link below, both for the notes and the link inside the notes that tell you how you can fix your game if you've been heavily modded. Players on modified versions of the game will now receive notifications that multiplayer has been disabled. No beef with anyone, guys, really. You can play a PvE oriented game however you want, but I can bet 5 out of my 10 hand fingers that 95% of the people who have the achievements for insane on PC, well, didn't actually complete insane on PC, if you know what I mean. Okay, now Intel fixed an issue that should now allow players to correctly be able to pick up Intel items in the Gift of Fire Recon mission. If any issues do persist, please let us know. It lists a link that you can use. Very good, because people have been moaning about those achievements for months. Matchmaking. Players can now choose to leave their matchmaking queue open until it is full. Thank Primus for that. Players can now lock Fireteam to choose the group to close the group with fewer than 3 players. That means we don't have to kill Alpha and Beta anymore. The timer for a locked group has been extended to allow more time to modify loadouts. That's good. Players can now ready up to skip or fast forward from the locked group phase and into mission launch. That's good. Fixed an issue where the challenge card disable option in matchmaking was sometimes ignored. That usually happened when you got into a game of Horde and then you got into the missions again. The card's choice was disabled. Fixed an issue in matchmaking where a new player couldn't be found if another player left. The slot got stuck. That's now fixed. Weapons and attachments. Area of effect guns such as the launcher and flamethrower now deal half the normal friendly fire damage in modes where friendly fire is enabled. That was a must because it was a little too much. All launcher weapons now properly have and display stumble chances. The M12 RPG, M12A1 rocket launcher and M95 grenade launcher all have a 100% stumble chance, where the M94 impact grenade has a 75 chance by default. That means that they can now stumble masses of enemies in their area of effect, making the demo more viable and safer to use. Updated the effect description for the rapid release magazine and drum magazine weapon attachment for more clarity. The fast reload speed effect now triggers briefly when the current magazine is emptied. Well, okay, works as intended now. Fix the UI issue where max ammo and magazine capacity were displaying incorrect values. I made a vid about the numbers we see in Fireteam Elite and what each number means, and I had stated that they round the numbers up or down according to what numbers we're looking up, and most of the time we were seeing incorrect numbers, though the numbers depicted will be the correct ones. Fixed an issue that could prevent flamethrower weapons from correctly displaying a warning icon when friendly fire was enabled. That could be tricky because you might be firing on your allies and you wouldn't know it. Fixed an issue with a quick loader so that it can correctly refill ammo in all cases and shows a correct ammo readout after killing an enemy with the final round. Fixed an issue with the compact flash hider so it now provides all the intended stability bonuses instead of the unintended bonuses it was giving before. Another glitched attachment, just like the Grupa was a glitched gun until a few patches ago. Now the class kits. Fixed an issue where some perks could unintentionally trigger twice, such as anesthesiologist. Guys, you should probably focus on making every perk work first and then diminish our ability to use an anesthesiologist. But let's keep an optimistic view of things here. Let's read through the whole thing. Demo. The demo kit's blacksmith ability can no longer be blocked by certain enemies. Very good. The Demolisher kit's Napalm Rockets ability now also slows target, and the visual effect will now last for the full duration of the ability effect. So whilst they're burning, they're also slowed. That's very, very good, but that's all we're getting for the Demos kit. What I just read is all we're getting for the Demos kit. I suppose Cold Iron still hasn't gotten the memo that the demo needs some sort of increased damage output, because as it stands, the demo is very, very weak. His abilities are very, very weak. Dock. Fixed an issue that could prevent the Dock's hit trauma station ability and associated replacers from scaling properly with radius and duration based perk modifiers. At last, they're fixing the radius. Now we will be able to have huge ass stations that can slow enemies in even larger areas. Fixed an issue to prevent Dock Kit's anesthesiologist perk from being continually stuck to unintended levels. Say goodbye to godlike dogs who don't die because they have 10,000 HP. That will no longer be possible. Gunner. Increase the range of the Gunner kit's incendiary blast ability by 20%. It is also now more effective at hitting nearby targets when activated. The stumble caused by this ability is now more effective at hitting targets. Like anyone is using this kit, we're all using the remotely detonated grenade. Fixed an issue where using the Gunner kit's overclock ability could sometimes have its countdown sound effect get stuck. Okay, that's quality of life. The Phalanx. The Phalanx has an extended list. Let's see. The Phalanx kit shield now blocks Buster explosion damage and no longer negates acid splash damage. Let me read that again. The Phalanx kit shield now blocks Buster explosions, good, and no longer negates acid splash damage. It should be doing both, Cold Iron, okay. The Phalanx kit's shield up ability now reduces damage received from environmental hazards by 35%. Very, very good, because if you're standing in a puddle of acid, you're still getting shredded. This will make it more viable to be on the front lines taking acid damage. The Phalanx kit's passive ability, Bulwark, now has a duration of 6 seconds, increased from 4. The Phalanx kit's Shock Pulse ability now has a slightly increased range and can no longer be blocked by some enemies. The Phalanx kit's Shock Pulse ability no longer has its damage over time effect removed when another player with the Phalanx kit applies the same effect to the same target. The Phalanx kit shield now properly unequips when going into cover without sliding. Okay, overall, the Phalanx will be stronger against busters, and it seems like he will be able to withstand more environmental hazard damage, that is the acid on the floor, most of the time. Recon. The Recon kit's Guard Dog ability now correctly deals electric damage. Fixed an issue where the Recon kit's Bloodhound ability sometimes wouldn't highlight enemies as expected. The Recon kit's Rifle Expertise perk now properly provides a 10% bonus to fire rate. The Recon Kit's CQW training perk now properly reduces the reload time for CQWs when equipped. A very nice buff to the Recon altogether. Technician. Fix the Technician Kit's Creative Point Solutions perk to consistently work with a Technician's turret. That's good because it was not always clear if it would or wouldn't work with specific configurations of the turret. Changes to the turret. Technician kit turret no longer have a delay before firing. No, these adjustments would make the turret feel snappier, especially when acquiring new targets. Perfect for those cases where sometimes the turret will just stand there doing nothing, especially if you're using the heavy turret if you are a masochist. The heavy turret ability Replacer now fires roughly 10% faster, still doesn't help the heavy turret that much. The heavy turret ability Replacer's base damage has been increased by 25%, still doesn't make the heavy turret a good turret. Fixed an issue where the fire rate bonus for the hyper-local logistics and dynamic delivery system does not correctly increase the fire rate of the heavy turret ability Replacer. They're trying to make it more viable, but unless it fires much faster, that's not gonna cut it, guys. Fix an issue where the heavy turret ability replacer will remain idle for a short period of time where it's selecting a new target. That's good. That might actually fix it. Technicians no longer pull the turret off their back when placing consumable grids or mines. Okay, that's graphical, but it's fine. Now, audio fixes an issue where the mission countdown audio would play multiple times if challenge cards were used while matchmaking. Fix an issue where some sound effects would become muted for the host if they completed the mission in the downed position. Fix an issue where the motion tracker sound effect could continue to play in the mission end screen. Fix an issue where players sometimes wouldn't hear the edkit pickup sound. Fix an issue where a player would sometimes not hear the ammo pickup sound when receiving ammo from an ammo crate. Fix an issue with the M39 submachine gun that switches the sound effect to single fire if the fire rates drop below a certain threshold. Fix an issue where the dropship sound effect would sometimes trigger twice during the Giants of the Earth insertion mission. This has been here since the beginning, but it's been reduced. Challenge cards. Fixed an issue where the Mindful Capacity challenge card was preventing the N79 laser pistol from shooting after it overheated and then cooled down. Okay. Fixed an issue where players using mouse and keyboard controls and playing with the challenge card that disabled main weapons could sometimes have the keybind for equipping their sidearm not work correctly. Okay. Fix an issue with a don't get hurt challenge card where it wouldn't fail upon taking damage. Fix an issue where a challenge card selected by a player who left the match could still be activated. Okay. Challenge cards now default to enable when returning to the mission screen after playing Horde mode. That's very good, because as I said, if you were playing Horde mode and you exited the session, after that you would have to go into the menu and manually select enabled for the challenge cards. Now there is a host of changes to combat. I'm gonna read through all of this, and I'm waiting for your thoughts on this segment because it's very important. Xenomorph runners, bursters, and prowlers now greatly slow down when they are stumbled while running and are further affected by movement speed penalties while they are stumbling. So they change the behavior when enemies stumble, and that's very important because stumbling an enemy as it was working up until now meant that the enemy would slide in an optimal position to dodge fire below line of sight and get closer, at which point when they were able to get up they would slice and dice at the team. This makes stumbling a much bigger issue for the enemies and its application that much more viable. Fixed an issue that could prevent the player from hearing the sound effect from a successful revival whilst reviving another player. Fixed an issue on high difficulties where consumable turrets wouldn't despawn when they ran out of ammo. Fixed an issue where the area of effect field of an ability, consumable, or weapon could sometimes spawn incorrectly. Fixed an issue that could prevent weapons that cause damage over time for correctly implemented friendly fire modifiers. Fixed an issue where players could get stuck in the down position after being stumbled. Yeah, we've had that. Fixed an issue where large enemies could sometimes get stuck at their spawning point. Okay, that happens with drones sometimes, but usually enemies behave as intended. Missions. Updated the population voiceover in the only way to be sure breach mission for better introduce new enemies. Okay. Fixed an issue where damaging the capacitors during the final mission, the only way to be sure regicide would not generate hit markers to detonate a hit on the target. Okay. Fixed a collision issue where a player could get stuck in cover preventing progression of a mission. Fixed an issue where the countdown time in horde mode sometimes couldn't display correctly between waves. Fixed an issue where some spawn points were not spawning enemies as intended. That's very important because you'd be fucked if you were playing horde and this didn't occur correctly. Fixed an issue where ed kits sometimes wouldn't distribute correctly to extreme and insane difficulties. That's not about a bug, that was an intentional handling of the health pack situation. If they fix all the health pack spawns, for one, insane should be more manageable now. Fixed the text and audio discrepancy with the Gift of Fire Recon mission. Fixed an issue that would sometimes cause players to crash while loading into the only way to be shoot regicide. Fixed an issue in the Gift of Fire Recon mission where an open door would sometimes prevent mission progression. Changed the introduction of eggs and facehuggers in the mission the only way to be sure breach slightly. Fixed an issue where the dropship rockets fired from the incorrect location of the mission jumps to the earth insertion, so that's again how it looks, not how it functions. Optimization. Adjusts environmental audio effects. Join queue notifications will no longer remain on the client player screen when the host player leaves the queue. I don't know if that's all the optimization we were looking for. The game sometimes fails to dump memory files and it slows to a crawl, especially on last gen consoles. That has to be addressed at some point. UI added an indicator to campaigns and mission buttons that shows highest difficulty completed. Settings for subtitles and subtitle backgrounds will now be grayed out if subtitles are set to off. Settings for colorblind strength will now be grayed out if colorblind mode is set to none. Updated some textures that were incorrectly displaying. Updated the friendly fire indicators to display both in and out of ADS. Updated the friendly fire indicator to no longer appear inappropriately. Added a hide HUD setting, turning off the heads up display during gameplay. That's good for photos. Added a toggle head accessory prompt in the change appearance screen. Added an audio option to turn off the headshot sound. Why would you do that? Added an audio option to change footstep volume. Improved visibility of the apply window resolution button in the graphics settings. That's very good for PC because it is like a riddle there. Aim assist mouse settings have been renamed aim snap mouse. Resetting graphics settings to default will now reset brightness. Fixed an issue that could prevent the consumables wheel from automatically closing and open where playing goes down. Fixed an issue where health bars could not update their underlying attributes changed. Fixed an issue where the ability active duration bugs were grayed out. There are a couple very technical ones since I'm reading from the PC segment about how mouse settings are renamed or certain files are remained, but something that's very important. Fixed a bug where electroshock pop-up and phosphorus pop-up mine kills were not counted towards the burn them out and high voltage achievements. At least using mines will now be a viable way of getting those trophies and achievements. Fixed an issue where enemies that were grappling were sometimes teleported during the grapple, like magnetic prowlers for example. Fixed a variety of issues with showing accurate progress on achievements. So, I will have the link in the description below so you can read everything at your leisure. It also states a host of performance improvements but doesn't go into detail. Let's see how that runs, how that performs. It's not a game that's so hardware intensive that we shouldn't be getting a rock solid 60 FPS, whatever the case. But I appreciate what they've done here. They added a lot of stuff, they tinkered with a lot of stuff. The demo still needs love. Some of the classes are underutilized because they're underperforming. But it's not the end of the road. It's pretty much the second big update that we're getting, and we have the rest of 2022 after that to get stuff into the game and enjoy them, including new classes and so on and so forth. Now, my plans for dealing with this DLC. As stated, tomorrow I will be streaming, although it's Tuesday. It will be a long ass stream. You can come with me, chill, talk about the new stuff. We will be playing point defense. We will be discussing what's happening, what we think about it. We'll start from intense and move our way upwards from there, see how everything works, and so on and so forth. So, it would be awesome if we could have you there. Also, since we're getting lots of new stuff to work with, I will be busting my ass off to cover everything, mod every weapon, level everything up, test everything out. All the cheese, all the strategies, everything will be covered. So, again, I have to self-promote here. Consider getting a membership or using Patreon to keep things afloat, because I'm also a human being, not just an entertaining streamer, and ya boy has to eat as well. Apart from that, if you need any help, I have to be clear about the fact that I will be playing on Game Pass for PC and the Xbox ecosystem, but I will first have to unlock everything on the PS5, because that's my main system and that's where my main save file is. And from then on, we will start unlocking stuff on the Xbox and PC ecosystem. Please note that if you're playing on Steam, it will not work as crossplay. It will only work with the Microsoft Store via Game Pass download. Okay, so go grab that. It will be free on Game Pass if you have Game Pass Ultimate, and we can play together, and I can help and Serpa and all that good stuff. So, this is it for this vid. Only reading through that humongous text took about 18 minutes, which is insane. Any questions we have will be answered in the following days. Of course, tomorrow we'll have a hands-on experience with all the new stuff. At last, hallelujah, it's been too long. So, stay warm tonight, guys. Stay safe. I hope I'll catch you tomorrow. And until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!
Activate all systems. Full draw. Lights out. Keep firing! Patching up. Lines
door, party. We're burning to escape debris scatter.